Hello, welcome back to the More Than Now show. Today, I want to talk about something that single moms need to prioritize, and you might not want to hear it, and it might shock you. So, I'm just going to get right into it. All right. So, single moms, all moms, but I feel like in particular single moms, you need to prioritize owning a firearm and knowing how to use it. Okay, this might sound frightening to you, and if it does, don't worry. I grew up in a household, my parents never used firearms. I went my whole childhood used one, and I am pretty proficient with it now. I carry pretty regularly, and I want to help you get to feeling like you can as well. First of all, let's talk about why I think that you should own a gun. First of all, I think that it's really just obvious that we live in a world where there are predators out there and there are people who want to prey upon children and women, and you don't have a man in the house to protect you. So, unfortunately, this has to fall into your own hands. You've got to be the one to protect you and your children. So, this is why I really suggest, at bare minimum, that you learn how to use a firearm for home protection. Okay, and then maybe work up to, no, not maybe, and then work up to being comfortable with a gun enough to conceal carry. So when I first started learning about firearms, I thought that when I concealed carried, I had to dress like a dude. And that really limited my amount of time that I concealed carried because I didn't really dress in like jeans and a t-shirt and wearing a belt with my holster and all of that. So I'm going to come up with some options for that. And I'm also going to tell you how to get more comfortable with firearms over time. So right now, I'm just going to look at some like programs that you can do to kind of get you started. All right. First of all, you may have heard of the NRA, but you might not be as familiar of their Women on Target program. And I'll put this link in the description. Okay, you can attend a clinic, you can host a clinic, you can find a shooting clinic near you. So, why do I like the Women on Target? This is actually pretty cool. It's a full day thing, and I understand as a single mom, you might have to get some childcare, and that might be very tricky. But this is one of those instances where, like, I really think you should do your best to prioritize this. Okay, shooting firearms is expensive. The ammo is expensive. Firearms are expensive. Range time is expensive, but we'll talk about how you can save on all this stuff here in a minute. But so this would be a clinic that I feel like is very well priced, where it would be worth it paying for a babysitter. And I know babysitters are expensive. So this is a day-long clinic where typically you get familiar with every type of firearm. That is from handguns to rifles to shotguns. You learn basic firearm safety, which is where you definitely want to start. And then you actually get hands-on usage of different types of firearms. Okay, so if you're not going to go to a clinic like this, that's fine. Many ranges, you can look up your local shooting range, and it's often not even listed on their website, but maybe go ahead and give them a call because a lot of times your local shooting range, they have special women's clinics where they will teach ladies. And oftentimes they actually have range days for women where ladies get range time for free. And that is a great discount. So you definitely want to utilize that. And you want to see if they have like a ladies' day where you can go in and you can get free range time. The shooting range is very great because you can also look at their different firearms and you can see which ones fit your hand. So you might think like all guns look the same, and they kind of do. You can look at like a Glock or a Sig Sauer and you can look at them and like they look the same, but when you fit them in your hand, they are not the same. And so a Glock, for example, didn't fit my hand right. I couldn't hold it in my hand in a way that I felt like I could comfortably pull the trigger. Okay, so you actually want to try different firearms, even if you just put them in your hand and see how they fit. Another good place to do this that you can do it for free is if you go to a gun show. Well, I guess nowadays some gun shows charge an admission fee. But nonetheless, if you go to a gun show, The guys at the gun show tables are usually so thrilled to help people. These are guys who love firearms and they love firearm safety and they love teaching people. So let's say you're very interested in, like, well, how does this fit my hand? That would be a good place to actually get a gun in your hand and fit it to it to see how it fits. You want something that fits your hand comfortably. Then again, you really won't know for sure until you shoot a gun, but sometimes you can often tell just by picking it up. And after you shoot a few different types of guns, you will realize what features you want. Is the safety important to you? Is the sights, the different way that the sights are on the gun important to you? There are different things, and you will learn about these. And there are great instructors. Any local shooting range typically has instructors happy to help. Where else can you learn? Okay, if you don't have money to go to a local shooting range, then source your community. See if you have a guy friend that has firearms. He may be thrilled to teach you a couple things and take you to the range. Source your other mom friends. Their husbands may have firearms, and they also likewise might be happy to help. Some of your other female friends might even have guns that they carry, but they're just not vocal about it. So you didn't know unless you ask. Because actually, women are carrying guns a lot these days. Mothers are packing because we realize we have to keep our babies safe. And there's many skills that you want to learn. When I first started off, my now older son was a lot younger, but he wasn't a baby yet. So I wasn't carrying him around so much anymore. And I had to formulate a plan. Okay, well, if someone comes up on us and there's danger, where am I going to put my son? And where am I going to put my firearm on my body? That way I can pull out the gun and have a plan. Where's my son going to be? When I went to a gun show and I was looking at holsters, these guys helped me so much. It was so amazing. Props to the guys at gun shows. So they helped me realize that my plan was a disaster. So my plan was is I was going to carry the gun in front. Appendix carry is what they call it. And that if I saw somebody that was danger, a threat, come towards me and my son, and I would pull him in front of me and then pull the firearm out. Oh, do you see the problem with this? My son's right here and then my gun's right here. Ah, terrible, terrible idea. Thanks, guys, for helping me realize it. So we developed a different plan. So the plan would be that either, my son would go behind me and I have my firearm in front, or my firearm would be in back. If my, and I would draw from the back if my son was, in front. And so you have to think about these things if you have a kid. Then I had the baby and I was like, oh, okay, well, what do I do now? Because I'm always carrying my baby. And so now I have an arm that's like not free. So then I had to go and learn how to shoot one-handed, which isn't as hard as it seems, guys. You can do this. Girls, you can do this, and I'm so excited for you to learn. Okay, so then you can go and learn how to shoot one-handed. And you just develop these ideas like, okay, if I'm out and about and somebody is a threat to my children, this is my plan. I have my gun here, I put my kid here, and you practice it. Okay, another way that you can get lots of practice is once you know which firearm fits your hand, there's something called dry firing. This is where at home you just practice, you make sure that your magazine is empty and that your chamber, your gun is empty. There is no ammunition in it, none at all. There are no rounds in your gun, okay? And then you can just practice doing what's dry firing. And this just helps you get used to like pulling it out from holster, lining it up, looking at your sights, and pulling the trigger. It helps you just get that coordination going. And this is a good way to get practice where you're not paying for range time and you're not paying for ammunition. And this is actually what a lot of the guys do, the experts, your law enforcement, your gun guys that know all the stuff. They dry fire a lot. They practice a lot, some of them every day, and they really know their stuff. So this is something else that you can do to get a lot of practice without always having to spend the money on the babysitter and all the things. So I want to introduce you to now a lady that she's one of my favorite YouTubers, and I mean, she is just, I love her. So this lady right here is an absolute gem. Please find her YouTube channel, subscribe, support her. She equips herself. So, Sav has everything a girl would need to know. And she solved my problem of I'm a girl and I don't want to dress like a dude. So how do I carry a gun? How do I conceal carry? Because I don't always want to be wearing jeans and a belt and a holster and a big baggy t-shirt. I'm at the playground in leggings, like running around with my kids, and I'm out and about doing mom things, and sometimes I want to wear skirts and I want to look cute. So what do I do? And she has practical solutions for how you could get dressed on different purses and things that work, things that don't, tried and true things. She also has options where she talks about different like pepper sprays and other ways of self-defense. She does have an academy, a course that she is selling. I have not taken that. It looks like it's awesome. She teaches one. Her husband is also like a guns instructor, so they're really, really, really knowledgeable. But just her free stuff on her YouTube account has been so amazing. So I really suggest that you follow her. And if you want to know anything, she also has things like, okay, when you have a gun and you have little hands and you're a girl and you don't typically have as much upper body strength, at first it can be like, well, how do I even pull this thing back? Just even little tips on that. Like there's ways to do it. You pull one part back, you push the other part forward, and there's ways to do it. And she talks about different ways to carry. One that I recently watched of hers was, do you keep a round in a chamber or not? And these are very valuable things that us women need to know. And this is something that, in particular, single moms, we really need to prioritize. We are the only ones responsible for keeping our children safe. And we're out here the most vulnerable. We're women and children without a man protecting us. I understand that it can be expensive. Range time, like I said, you could probably get that for free. Try to buy ammo in bulk. Try to find a good holster. And, a firearm can cost between like $200 and $600 typically but you can find ways to get rebates on them, figure out which one really fits your hand and works for you, make it a one-time expense. It's not something that you're going to have to keep purchasing. You find one, you find a good one that fits you well, and then you learn how to use it. You practice with it. You try to go regular enough to keep your skills up so that if in the event that you end up having to use it, that you know what you're doing. You dry fire, you practice at home, you practice, pulling it out of your holster, you practice in your mind what you're going to do with your children. And also, I guess this is a good time to say there are definitely ways to keep your children safe with a firearm in the house. And I will be doing another video on that, on different tips on if you're afraid of being a mom that carries a firearm, how you could keep your children safe and how you can manage that fear. Another thing that I should mention before leaving is if you are afraid of guns, you've never been around guns, this is totally new to you, exposure therapy is really the best option. So just going to where there are guns, going to the gun shows, going to see, like I said, if you have a friend that has a firearm, getting used to it in your hand. You can get used to it in your hand before you even fire a gun. There's so much you can learn about a firearm before even ever pulling a trigger. And if you go and you feel like, the ranges, they keep them really safe. Honestly, the safest place in the world to be is at a gun show. Um, because, someone F's around, they're going to find out. There are things to make life easier. Like this is a magazine loader. And, there are things like this, like let's say, for example, at first I had a very hard time loading a magazine because my thumbs weren't strong enough. Now I can do it, but, I had to practice it. And so at first I got one of these to help me out, and I still use it from time to time just because it's quick and I bought it and I like it. I feel like it's a nice tool to have. However, building up strength, you can do all this stuff without having to go to a range, and with getting used to it, dry firing can help you get to the point where, you're more exposed to it and you're less scared. So you might be terrified at the idea at first, But trust me, after you're around the experts, after you're around the professionals and the trainers, and you go to the gun shows and you talk to people who use firearms, there's really nothing to be afraid of as far as guns are concerned. The only thing you have to be afraid of is a bad person with a gun. You will be empowered as the good person that can take care of your family, that can defend your children and yourself, because you're worth defending too, Mama. All right, so I hope this helped, and thanks for watching.